Marie, a passionate but underappreciated theater actress in the lively city of Rosewood, struggles to balance her artistic ambitions with the harsh realities of life. Her performances brim with raw talent and emotion, yet the world seems indifferent to her efforts. One rainy evening, after a particularly grueling rehearsal, Marie walks home through the dimly lit streets of the city. Unbeknownst to her, a group of thugs has been watching her for days, mistaking her modest belongings as signs of wealth. Before she can reach her apartment, the men surround her, their intentions clear and menacing. Just as Marie braces for the worst, a figure emerges from the shadows, a man with a commanding presence and an air of danger. Hernan, a skilled and enigmatic operative who has been surveilling the area for an unrelated mission, steps in. With calculated precision, he dispatches the attackers, leaving them incapacitated in minutes. Marie is stunned, her fear momentarily replaced by awe at her savior's efficiency. "Are you all right?" Hernan asks, his voice low and steady. Marie nods, struggling to find her words. Before she can thank him properly, Hernan disappears into the night, leaving behind only his striking silhouette and an air of mystery. Days later, Marie is invited to a lavish gala at the prestigious Rosewood Conservatory, where the city's elite gather to celebrate the arts. This is a rare opportunity for her to network with influential figures and potentially secure her breakthrough role. Dressed in a simple yet elegant gown, Marie mingles with the crowd, feeling both out of place and determined. Amid the sea of polished smiles and calculated conversations, she notices a familiar face, Hernan. Hernan is impeccably dressed, blending seamlessly with the wealthy attendees. However, his eyes constantly scan the room, his posture subtly tense. Unbeknownst to the guests, Hernan is undercover, using the gala to investigate a smuggling ring rumored to operate under the guise of high society events. Marie approaches him hesitantly, recalling their last encounter. "I didn't get a chance to thank you," she says. Hernan's gaze softens briefly, but his response is measured. "No thanks needed. You just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time." As the evening progresses, Hernan keeps a protective eye on Marie, sensing she might inadvertently draw attention from dangerous individuals. At the same time, Marie performs an impromptu monologue for the audience, captivating the room with her raw talent. Hernan watches her closely, a flicker of admiration breaking through his guarded demeanor. Marie's performance earns her the admiration of a prominent theater producer who offers her a supporting role in an upcoming production. Excited yet cautious, Marie accepts, unaware that the producer is involved in the very smuggling ring Hernan is investigating. Hernan, now fully aware of Marie's connection to his case, debates whether to warn her. He decides to keep his distance to avoid drawing suspicion, but continues to monitor her discreetly. Meanwhile, Marie throws herself into rehearsals, blissfully unaware of the danger lurking in the theater's shadows. One evening, as she practices alone on stage, Marie overhears a hushed conversation between the producer and an unknown associate. Though the details are vague, the words "shipment" and "deadline" catch her attention. Her curiosity piqued, she shares the incident with Hernan during an unexpected encounter at a cafe. Hernan's expression darkens as he realizes Marie is closer to the smuggling operation than he anticipated. "Be careful who you trust," he warns, his tone more serious than she's ever heard. Marie, confused by his concern, presses him for answers, but Hernan remains evasive. Despite Hernan's warnings, Marie's involvement with the theater deepens, as does her connection to Hernan. Their paths cross more frequently, sometimes by coincidence and sometimes by design. Hernan begins to see Marie not as a complication, but as someone he feels compelled to protect. During a late-night walk home, Marie finds herself followed by a shadowy figure. Before she can react, Hernan appears once again, scaring off the stalker with nothing more than a cold glare. "You have a knack for being in the wrong place at the wrong time," he remarks, his attempt at humor doing little to mask his concern. Marie, now fully aware that Hernan's presence in her life is no coincidence, confronts him. "Who are you, really?" she demands. Hernan hesitates, torn between his duty and his growing feelings for her. "I'm someone trying to keep you safe," he finally admits. Their conversation is interrupted when Hernan receives an urgent call. He leaves abruptly, leaving Marie with more questions than answers. Though frustrated, she can't shake the feeling that Hernan's secrets are tied to something far bigger than either of them. Marie is exhilarated by her new role in the upcoming theater production, believing it to be her big break. The rehearsal space is grand, filled with dazzling lights and bustling with activity. However, beneath the glitz and glamour, a sense of unease lingers. Marie notices peculiar movements, stagehands whispering in hushed tones, packages arriving late at night, and her producer, Mr. Caldwell, often disappearing into private meetings. Hernan, meanwhile, tightens his surveillance of the theater. His investigation has revealed that Caldwell is a key figure in a smuggling ring that uses the theater as a front. Hernan struggles to maintain his distance from Marie, knowing her involvement in the production could put her directly in harm's way. One night, as Marie rehearses alone on stage, she discovers a hidden door backstage. Driven by curiosity, she pushes it open, revealing a small storage room filled with crates. Before she can investigate further, she hears footsteps approaching. She hastily closes the door and pretends to be practicing her lines. Hernan, observing from the shadows, senses that Marie's curiosity might lead her into danger. He decides it's time to intervene more directly. Marie's growing suspicions about the theater's operations compel her to confide in Hernan. They meet at a quiet cafe, where she recounts her discovery of the hidden room. Hernan listens intently, his expression grim. "You need to stay away from this," he warns, his tone firm. "This isn't just about you anymore. There are dangerous people involved." Marie, frustrated by his cryptic warnings, demands answers. "Why do you always show up when something happens? Who are you, Hernan?" Hernan hesitates, torn between his duty and his feelings for Marie. "I can't tell you everything, but I promise I'm trying to protect you," he says finally. Marie feels conflicted. Hernan's protectiveness reassures her, but his secrecy leaves her doubting his intentions. She decides to investigate on her own, determined to uncover the truth about the theater. Marie's determination leads her to revisit the hidden storage room late one night. Armed with a flashlight, she sneaks backstage and carefully opens the concealed door. Inside, she finds crates filled with what appear to be expensive artifacts, meticulously wrapped and labeled. Among them is a ledger detailing shipments and payments. Just as she begins to piece together the operation, the sound of voices echoes through the hall. Marie panics, realizing she's not alone. She hides behind a stack of crates as Mr. Caldwell and two men enter the room. "This shipment has to leave by tomorrow," Caldwell says, his voice stern. "We can't afford any mistakes." Marie clutches the ledger tightly, her heart racing. Before she can escape, one of the men notices something out of place, a flashlight left on the ground. They begin searching the room methodically. Before they can find her, Hernan bursts in, his arrival perfectly timed. He confronts the men, his demeanor calm but authoritative. "Looks like I interrupted something," he says, his voice laced with menace. The men recognize Hernan and back away cautiously, sensing the danger he poses. Hernan manages to escort Marie out of the theater, but his frustration with her is palpable. "Do you have any idea how close you were to being caught?" he demands as they step into the cool night air. Marie, shaken but defiant, retorts, "I needed to know the truth. You're not telling me everything." Hernan softens, seeing the fear in her eyes. "Marie, I promise you, I'm trying to keep you safe. But if you keep digging, you'll make yourself a target." Hernan realizes that keeping Marie uninvolved is no longer an option. He decides to bring her into his plan, reasoning that it's the only way to ensure her safety. They meet in his small, nondescript apartment, where Hernan lays out the full scope of his investigation. He explains that the theater is a hub for an international smuggling ring dealing in stolen artifacts, and Caldwell is a key player. Hernan has been working undercover to dismantle the operation, but his cover is fragile. Marie listens intently, her fear giving way to resolve. "If this is happening right under my nose, I can't just stand by and do nothing," she says. "Tell me what I can do to help." Hernan reluctantly agrees, assigning her the task of discreetly observing Caldwell's interactions during rehearsals. He also warns her to be vigilant, as any misstep could expose them both. Their partnership marks a turning point in their relationship. Hernan begins to open up about his past, sharing glimpses of the burdens he carries. Marie, in turn, finds herself drawn to his strength and vulnerability. As they prepare for the challenges ahead, a newfound trust forms between them. However, both know that the closer they get to the truth, the more dangerous their mission will become. Marie and Hernan's fragile alliance begins to take shape as they carefully plan their next steps. Hernan, aware of the risks, insists on teaching Marie basic self-defense and how to handle herself in high-stakes situations. Although Marie is initially reluctant, she quickly proves to be a fast learner, her determination outweighing her fear. At the theater, Marie resumes her rehearsals while discreetly observing Mr. Caldwell and his associates. She notes the subtle exchanges, quick handshakes, whispered conversations, and the delivery of suspicious packages. One evening, she overhears a conversation about an upcoming auction scheduled to take place in a private estate outside Rosewood. Marie relays this information to Hernan, who immediately recognizes the significance. The auction is likely a front for selling stolen artifacts to wealthy buyers. Hernan sees this as the perfect opportunity to expose Caldwell and his operation, but he knows they'll need solid evidence to ensure the authorities take action. To gather more information about the auction, Hernan and Marie attend a high-profile masquerade ball hosted by one of Caldwell's associates, posing as a couple to avoid suspicion. Marie is nervous but determined, her simple yet elegant attire making her stand out among the opulence of the event. Inside the grand estate, the air is thick with secrets and power plays. Hernan seamlessly blends in, his composed demeanor masking his constant vigilance. Marie, on the other hand, struggles to navigate the intricate web of social niceties while keeping an eye on Caldwell. As the evening progresses, Marie spots Caldwell conversing with a man who appears to be a buyer. She discreetly follows them to a side room, where she overhears them discussing the auction and the items to be sold. Before she can retreat, Caldwell notices her presence. Thinking quickly, Marie feigns interest in Caldwell's work and praises his efforts in supporting the arts. Her charm and quick wit disarm him, allowing her to escape without arousing suspicion. However, the encounter leaves her shaken, and Hernan, sensing her distress, becomes even more protective. Back at Hernan's apartment, the two analyze the information Marie gathered. Hernan begins mapping out a plan to infiltrate the auction and retrieve incriminating evidence. Despite his meticulous preparations, he remains acutely aware of the risks involved, especially for Marie. Marie, however, refuses to back down. "I've come this far, Hernan. I can't turn away now," she insists. Hernan admires her courage but warns her to stay vigilant and to trust no one. Their long hours together foster a deeper connection between them. Hernan shares fragments of his past, revealing that he once lost someone he cared about during an undercover mission. Marie, moved by his vulnerability, promises to be careful. Meanwhile, Caldwell grows increasingly suspicious of Marie's presence at the theater. He begins assigning her menial tasks, keeping her away from key areas. Marie senses his unease and realizes her time at the theater might be running out. The night of the auction arrives, and Hernan and Marie prepare to execute their plan. Hernan equips Marie with a discreet communication device and a hidden camera disguised as a brooch. "Stay close, and if anything feels off, signal me immediately," he instructs. The auction takes place in a secluded manner on the outskirts of the city. The atmosphere is tense, with attendees exuding wealth and danger in equal measure. Hernan and Marie split up to cover more ground, each navigating the crowded rooms with calculated precision. Marie mingles with the guests, using her charm to gather snippets of information. Meanwhile, Hernan gains access to the restricted areas of the manor, locating a hidden vault where the stolen artifacts are stored. He photographs the items and retrieves documents detailing the operation's scope. As the auction begins, Marie finds herself seated near Caldwell, her heart pounding with each bid. She spots an artifact from her earlier discovery in the theater's storage room, confirming the connection between Caldwell and the smuggling ring. Suddenly, one of Caldwell's associates recognizes Hernan from a previous encounter. Realizing their cover might be blown, Hernan signals Marie to leave. She discreetly exits the auction room, but Caldwell, now suspicious, sends his men after her. Hernan intercepts Marie as she navigates the labyrinthine corridors of the manor. Together, they evade Caldwell's men, relying on Hernan's tactical expertise and Marie's quick thinking. The pursuit is intense, with narrow escapes at every turn. At one point, they find themselves cornered in a wine cellar. Hernan, using his resourcefulness, creates a diversion by triggering a fire alarm, causing chaos among the guests and providing them with an opportunity to escape. They flee into the surrounding woods, the cold night air biting at their skin. Hernan leads Marie to a safe house he had prepared earlier, where they finally catch their breath. "You did well tonight," Hernan tells Marie, his voice filled with genuine admiration. Marie, despite her exhaustion, manages a small smile. "I couldn't have done it without you." Their shared ordeal strengthens their bond, but they both know the battle is far from over. With the evidence Hernan collected, they now have the means to expose Caldwell's operation. However, they also realize that Caldwell will stop at nothing to protect his empire, making them prime targets. The safe house, hidden deep in the woods, provides Hernan and Marie a temporary reprieve from the chaos of the auction. Hernan meticulously examines the documents he retrieved, piecing together the scope of Caldwell's operation. The ledger confirms that Caldwell has been trafficking stolen artifacts to high-profile clients across the globe. Marie, still shaken but resolute, assists Hernan by cross-referencing the items in the ledger with the artifacts she saw in the theater's storage room. She notices one item circled repeatedly in the notes, a rare, jewel-encrusted dagger with historical significance. Its planned shipment date is only days away, and its sale appears to be a cornerstone of Caldwell's smuggling empire. While working together, Hernan and Marie's bond deepens. Hernan, seeing Marie's determination, begins to open up about his undercover work. He reveals that his mission was initially focused on Caldwell's international dealings, but shifted when he realized how dangerous the operation was for people like Marie, caught in the crossfire. Their conversation is interrupted when Hernan receives a call from his handler, who warns him that Caldwell is becoming more aggressive. He knows someone infiltrated the auction. "You and your informant are his prime targets," the handler says. Marie decides to return to the theater, determined to find out more about the dagger before it disappears. Hernan is initially opposed to the idea but reluctantly agrees, under the condition that he will be nearby in case things go wrong. Marie's return to the theater is fraught with tension. Caldwell's demeanor has shifted. He is colder, more calculating, and his eyes seem to linger on her for too long. Marie pretends to focus on her work, but her mind races as she observes Caldwell's interactions with his staff. That evening, she sneaks into the storage room where the dagger is kept. As she examines the artifact, she discovers a hidden compartment in its hilt containing a microchip. Hernan, who joins her after ensuring the coast is clear, identifies the chip as a storage device likely containing critical information about Caldwell's clients and operations. Before they can leave, they hear footsteps approaching. Hernan quickly hides them behind a stack of crates. Caldwell enters the room, accompanied by two men, and they discuss the impending shipment of the dagger. Hernan's hand tightens around Marie's, silently reassuring her as they listen. Once the men leave, Hernan and Marie escape the theater with the dagger and its hidden microchip. Hernan knows they've crossed a line. Caldwell will now stop at nothing to find them. Hernan and Marie retreat to the safe house, where Hernan uses his equipment to decrypt the data on the microchip. It contains a wealth of incriminating information, including a list of Caldwell's clients, financial transactions, and detailed shipment records. As they celebrate their breakthrough, Marie begins to notice a shift in Hernan's demeanor. He becomes more distant, preoccupied with the mission. Sensing his inner turmoil, she confronts him. "You've been carrying this burden alone for too long, Hernan. Let me help you." Hernan hesitates but finally admits that he's torn between his duty and his growing feelings for her. This mission was supposed to be simple, he confesses. But then I met you, and everything became complicated. Their conversation is cut short when Hernan receives an alert. Caldwell's men have tracked them to the safe house. Realizing they're out of time, Hernan and Marie quickly gather the evidence and prepare to flee. The escape is harrowing, with Caldwell's men closing in on them. Hernan uses his combat skills to neutralize their pursuers while ensuring Marie's safety. The adrenaline and danger only deepen their connection as they rely on each other to survive. With no safe place to turn, Hernan contacts an old ally, a tech expert named Dominic, who specializes in exposing criminal networks. Dominic agrees to help them, offering his secluded workshop as a temporary hideout. Dominic analyzes the data from the microchip, uncovering even more damning evidence against Caldwell. He discovers encrypted messages hinting at a powerful backer supporting Caldwell's operation, someone with deep ties to law enforcement and politics. As they strategize their next move, Hernan and Marie realize the fight against Caldwell is far bigger than they anticipated. They decide to leak the information to the press while preparing a dossier for the authorities. However, they know this will make them even greater targets. Meanwhile, Caldwell, enraged by the theft of the dagger, escalates his efforts to find them. He deploys a network of spies and informants, tightening his grip on the city. His obsession with Marie deepens as he suspects her role in the betrayal. Despite the mounting danger, Hernan and Marie find solace in each other. Their shared experiences and sacrifices forge a bond that goes beyond mere survival. As they prepare for the final confrontation with Caldwell, they vow to see their mission through, no matter the cost. Caldwell's obsession with finding Hernan and Marie leads him to set a deadly trap. Using his resources, he stages a fake art exhibit in Rosewood, showcasing rare artifacts similar to those he smuggles. The exhibit is bait, designed to lure Hernan and Marie into the open. Hernan, skeptical of the sudden announcement, suspects a setup but realizes it's an opportunity to gather more evidence. With Dominic's help, they hack into Caldwell's private communications and confirm the exhibit is a facade for a larger shipment. Marie, despite her growing fear, volunteers to infiltrate the exhibit while Hernan provides backup. I've been underestimated by Caldwell for too long. Let's use that to our advantage, she says. Hernan reluctantly agrees, knowing they're walking into a dangerous situation. Dressed as an attendee, Marie enters the grand hall where the exhibit is held. The opulent setting is a stark contrast to the danger lurking beneath the surface. As she mingles with the crowd, she discreetly records conversations and observes Caldwell's interactions. Hernan, stationed nearby with Dominic monitoring the security feeds, keeps a close watch on Marie. Tension rises when Caldwell notices her presence. He approaches, his suave demeanor masking his suspicion. "Marie, what a surprise to see you here," he says, his tone dripping with false warmth. Marie, her nerves steeled, plays along. "I couldn't resist such an exclusive event. Your reputation for exquisite taste precedes you," she replies, her voice steady. As Caldwell engages her in conversation, Hernan discovers through Dominic's feed that Caldwell's men are closing in on Marie. Realizing their time is running out, Hernan directs Marie to a restricted area where the shipment is being prepared. Inside the warehouse section of the exhibit, Marie discovers a cache of stolen artifacts, including the items from the auction ledger. She takes photos while Hernan disables the security system to create a distraction. However, Caldwell, now fully aware of her betrayal, confronts her before she can escape. Caldwell's charm turns menacing as he corners Marie. "You've been playing a dangerous game, my dear. Did you really think you could outsmart me?" he sneers. Before Caldwell can harm her, Hernan bursts into the room, engaging in a brutal fight with Caldwell's guards. Marie uses the chaos to flee, but not before she grabs one last artifact, a jade figurine linked to a secret Caldwell has been guarding. Hernan and Marie barely escape the exhibit, chased by Caldwell's men through the narrow streets of Rosewood. Dominic remotely guides them to a hidden safe route, allowing them to evade capture. Back at Dominic's workshop, Hernan scolds Marie for putting herself in such danger, but his frustration quickly turns to relief. "You were incredible in there," he admits, his voice softening. Marie, shaken but determined, replies, "We're not done yet, Hernan. We need to finish this." They examine the jade figurine and discover an engraved code. Dominic deciphers it, revealing coordinates to a hidden offshore vault where Caldwell's most sensitive documents are stored. The coordinates lead them to a secluded coastal town, where they must charter a boat to reach the vault's location on a private island. The journey is perilous, as Caldwell's men are hot on their trail. Marie, despite her fear of water, insists on accompanying Hernan. "I'm in this with you until the end," she tells him. Hernan, touched by her unwavering support, promises to protect her no matter what. As they approach the island, they encounter rough seas and nearly capsize when their boat is attacked by Caldwell's men. Hernan's quick thinking saves them, but they lose most of their equipment in the process. On the island, Hernan and Marie navigate treacherous terrain to locate the vault, an underground bunker hidden within the cliffs. Inside, they find a treasure trove of evidence, financial records, blackmail material, and details of Caldwell's powerful allies. However, their discovery is interrupted by the arrival of Caldwell himself, flanked by armed guards. "You've been a thorn in my side for far too long," he declares, his voice filled with venom. The confrontation escalates into a deadly standoff. Hernan, using his tactical skills, manages to outmaneuver Caldwell's guards while Marie secures the evidence. In a final act of defiance, Caldwell detonates explosives planted around the vault, intending to bury them all. Hernan and Marie narrowly escape the collapsing bunker, clutching the evidence that could finally bring Caldwell to justice. As they emerge onto the shore, exhausted and battered, they know the battle is far from over. Hernan and Marie return to Rosewood with the evidence secured from Caldwell's vault. They deliver the documents to Dominic, who immediately begins compiling a comprehensive report to expose Caldwell and his criminal network. The evidence is damning: names of high-profile associates, financial records of illicit deals, and proof of trafficking operations. Hernan insists on keeping Marie safe, suggesting she go into hiding while he prepares for the final confrontation. However, Marie refuses. "We've come this far together, Hernan. I won't run now," she says, her determination unwavering. Hernan reluctantly agrees, his admiration for her growing. The two spend the evening at Dominic's workshop, strategizing their next move. Dominic uncovers a key detail in the documents, a coded message revealing an upcoming meeting between Caldwell and his associates. This meeting is the final piece of the puzzle, where Caldwell plans to secure a deal with his powerful backer to rebuild his empire. Hernan and Marie realize this is their chance to not only expose Caldwell but dismantle his entire operation. The meeting, set to take place at an abandoned industrial site on the outskirts of the city, becomes their next target. Disguised as workers, Hernan and Marie infiltrate the industrial site on the night of the meeting. The sprawling complex is heavily guarded, and Caldwell's men patrol every corner. Using a combination of stealth and strategy, they navigate the labyrinth of corridors to reach the central chamber where the meeting is being held. Inside, Caldwell addresses his associates with his usual charisma, promising a resurgence of their operations despite recent setbacks. His backer, a shadowy figure named Silas, remains in the background, observing silently. Marie records the entire exchange using a concealed camera, while Hernan plants surveillance devices to gather additional evidence. The tension escalates when one of Caldwell's men notices something unusual. Hernan and Marie narrowly avoid detection, but their cover is blown when a guard discovers the planted devices. The alarm is raised, and chaos ensues. Hernan and Marie fight their way out, using every ounce of their resourcefulness to evade capture. Hernan's combat skills and Marie's quick thinking prove invaluable as they outmaneuver Caldwell's men. After escaping the industrial site, Hernan and Marie regroup at a safe house provided by Dominic. The footage and audio they've gathered are enough to publicly incriminate Caldwell and Silas. However, Dominic warns them that releasing the information prematurely could put them in even greater danger. Hernan decides to contact his handler in law enforcement, providing them with the evidence and requesting immediate action. The handler agrees to mobilize a task force to apprehend Caldwell and his associates, but it will take time. As they wait, Hernan and Marie reflect on their journey. Hernan confesses his fears of losing her, admitting, "You've become my strength, Marie. I don't know what I'd do without you." Marie, touched by his vulnerability, responds, "We've fought too hard to let fear win now. Whatever happens, we face it together." Their moment of solace is interrupted when Dominic informs them that Caldwell has placed a massive bounty on their heads. Every criminal in Rosewood is now hunting them, making the city even more dangerous. Caldwell, enraged by their interference, orchestrates an ambush to eliminate Hernan and Marie once and for all. Using the bounty as bait, he lures them into a trap at one of their safe houses. Hernan, sensing something is off, prepares for an attack. When Caldwell's men storm the building, Hernan and Marie are ready. A fierce battle ensues, with Hernan using his combat training to fend off the attackers while Marie provides support, proving her courage and resourcefulness. Despite their best efforts, the odds are overwhelming. Hernan is injured during the fight, and they're forced to retreat. Marie, refusing to leave him behind, helps him escape to another hideout. Her determination and care for him deepen their bond even further. As Hernan recovers, they receive news from Dominic that the authorities have raided Caldwell's industrial site and arrested several of his associates. However, Caldwell and Silas remain at large, their whereabouts unknown. Hernan and Marie realize the final confrontation is inevitable. With their enemies closing in and the authorities closing ranks, they prepare for the ultimate showdown that will determine their fate and the future of Caldwell's empire. Caldwell, humiliated by the authorities' raid and the loss of his associates, becomes more ruthless. He consolidates his remaining power, retreating to an elusive hideout. Silas, his shadowy backer, becomes even more involved, pushing Caldwell to eliminate Hernan and Marie at any cost. Meanwhile, Hernan and Marie regroup with Dominic. The evidence they provided to law enforcement has crippled Caldwell's operations, but the mastermind himself remains untouchable. Dominic uncovers a critical lead: encrypted coordinates hidden within the files obtained from Caldwell's vault. After days of deciphering, the coordinates point to a private estate in the remote Montjera Highlands. The estate, heavily fortified, serves as the nerve center for Caldwell's remaining operations and Silas's secret dealings. Hernan and Marie know this is their chance to end Caldwell's reign of terror once and for all. Hernan, still recovering from his injury, insists on leading the charge. Marie refuses to let him face the danger alone. "We started this together, and we'll finish it together," she declares. Hernan, moved by her unwavering resolve, reluctantly agrees. The journey to Montjera is fraught with challenges. Caldwell's bounty hunters are still on their trail, and Hernan and Marie must travel discreetly. Dominic provides them with forged identities and a discreet vehicle to navigate the treacherous mountain roads. As they approach the highlands, Hernan and Marie share a quiet moment, reflecting on the risks ahead. Hernan confesses his fears for Marie's safety, but she reassures him. "We've come too far to let fear stop us. I trust you, Hernan," she says, her words strengthening his resolve. The estate looms in the distance, a massive fortress surrounded by dense forests. Hernan and Marie devise a plan to infiltrate the compound under the cover of darkness. With Dominic's help, they disable parts of the estate's security system, giving them a narrow window to act. Inside the compound, Hernan and Marie discover the scale of Caldwell's operation: illicit weapons, smuggled artifacts, and documents tying Silas to high-level corruption. The evidence is overwhelming, but extracting it won't be easy. While searching the estate, Hernan and Marie encounter Silas for the first time. Unlike Caldwell's theatrical bravado, Silas exudes a chilling calmness. "You've been meddling in affairs far beyond your understanding," he says, his voice devoid of emotion. Silas orders his guards to capture them, leading to a deadly cat-and-mouse chase through the compound. Hernan uses his combat skills and intimate knowledge of tactical operations to outmaneuver the guards, while Marie uses her agility and resourcefulness to stay one step ahead. As they evade capture, Hernan and Marie overhear a heated argument between Caldwell and Silas. Caldwell, furious over his crumbling empire, blames Silas for underestimating Hernan and Marie. Silas, unimpressed by Caldwell's outburst, threatens to cut ties if Caldwell cannot handle the situation. Seizing the opportunity, Hernan and Marie infiltrate the control room, where they secure the final pieces of evidence: a ledger detailing bribes paid to officials and a video recording of Caldwell and Silas orchestrating their criminal activities. However, their escape is thwarted when Caldwell corners them. "You've destroyed everything I built," he roars, his rage uncontainable. A brutal fight ensues, with Hernan facing off against Caldwell while Marie attempts to secure the evidence. Hernan and Caldwell engage in a fierce battle, each strike fueled by years of animosity and personal loss. Hernan's training and determination give him the upper hand, but Caldwell fights with the desperation of a man who has nothing left to lose. Meanwhile, Marie confronts Silas, who attempts to manipulate her. "You're smart, Marie. Join me, and I can make you untouchable," he offers, his tone deceptively sincere. Marie, unfazed, responds, "I'd rather risk everything for justice than sell my soul for power." Marie manages to disable Silas temporarily, escaping with the incriminating evidence. She reunites with Hernan just as he delivers the final blow to Caldwell, incapacitating him. As they prepare to leave, Silas triggers the estate's self-destruct system, determined to destroy all evidence along with Hernan and Marie. With minutes to spare, Hernan and Marie race through the compound, navigating collapsing structures and explosions. They narrowly escape as the estate erupts in flames, watching from a safe distance as Caldwell's empire literally crumbles. Though exhausted and battered, they hold onto the evidence that will finally bring Caldwell and Silas to justice. Hernan turns to Marie, his voice filled with gratitude and admiration. "We did it, Marie. Together." She smiles, her eyes reflecting a mix of relief and determination. "It's not over yet, Hernan. We still have to make sure they pay." With Caldwell incapacitated and Silas's empire in ruins, Hernan and Marie make their way back to Rosewood, carrying the evidence that will finally expose the criminal network. The journey is somber yet resolute. They both understand the significance of what they've achieved, but the danger is far from over. Dominic arranges a secure meeting with Hernan's contact in law enforcement. The evidence is handed over, sparking an immediate response. A high-priority task force is deployed to track down Silas, who remains elusive after the Montiera estate's destruction. Arrest warrants are issued for several corrupt officials named in the evidence, signaling a massive crackdown on the network. News of Caldwell's downfall spreads quickly, creating chaos within the underworld. Rival factions vie for control, turning Rosewood into a battlefield. Hernan and Marie realize they must stay vigilant, as Silas might attempt a desperate retaliation. In a dramatic turn, Silas emerges from the shadows, using his influence to frame Hernan and Marie as fugitives responsible for the destruction of the Montiera estate. The media, manipulated by Silas's allies, begins broadcasting false narratives, painting the pair as dangerous criminals. Dominic, using his tech skills, launches a counter-campaign to reveal the truth. Leaked evidence and recordings slowly begin to sway public opinion. The people of Rosewood rally behind Hernan and Marie, recognizing them as heroes who risked everything to dismantle a powerful criminal empire. Silas, refusing to admit defeat, orchestrates one last plan to eliminate Hernan and Marie. He lures them to a public plaza under the guise of surrendering, promising to turn himself in if they come alone. Despite knowing it's a trap, Hernan and Marie agree, determined to end the conflict once and for all. The plaza, surrounded by Silas's men, becomes the stage for a tense confrontation. Silas emerges, calm and calculated as always, and confronts Hernan and Marie. "You think you've won, but this world is built on power, not justice," he sneers. Hernan responds, Power without integrity is meaningless. Your time is up, Silas. A fierce battle breaks out, with Hernan and Marie fighting against overwhelming odds. The plaza erupts into chaos as civilians flee and law enforcement converges on the scene. Despite their injuries and exhaustion, Hernan and Marie hold their ground, their bond giving them the strength to push through. Just as Silas attempts to escape amidst the chaos, Dominic arrives with reinforcements. Using the public broadcast system, Dominic streams live footage of Silas's crimes, including the ledger and recordings obtained from Montera. The overwhelming evidence leaves no room for doubt, and Silas is arrested on the spot by the authorities. With Silas and Caldwell's network dismantled, Hernan and Marie finally find a moment of peace. The authorities commend their bravery, and they're cleared of all false charges. Rosewood begins to heal as the city rebuilds from the turmoil. Hernan, reflecting on the journey, expresses his gratitude to Marie. "I couldn't have done this without you," he says. Marie smiles, her eyes filled with warmth. "We saved each other, Hernan, and we saved this city." Their bond, forged through trials and sacrifices, deepens into a love neither of them anticipated, but both wholeheartedly embrace. They decide to stay in Rosewood, using their experiences to create a foundation that supports victims of crime and corruption. Dominic, ever the loyal friend, joins them in their mission, ensuring that the city remains vigilant against future threats. Together, they become symbols of hope and resilience, proving that even in the darkest times, justice and love can prevail. Months later, Rosewood thrives under the new leadership of honest officials inspired by Hernan and Marie's courage. The scars of the past remain, but they serve as reminders of the battles fought and won. Hernan and Marie stand on a hill overlooking the city, their hands intertwined. "We started this to bring justice," Hernan says, "but we found something even greater, each other." Marie nods, her heart full of hope. "Together, we'll keep fighting for what's right. This is just the beginning." As the sun sets over Rosewood, their journey concludes not with an end, but with a promise, a legacy of love, justice, and unwavering courage. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more delightful stories.